Today's video is a collab video created by Sarah of the Sarah Fam channel and the V Loves collab group. I will have all the information, Sarah's channel as well as the playlist for this collab linked down in this description box below. So make sure to check out their videos. Today's date is September 11th, 2016, and it's been 15 years since the terrorist attacks that rocked us. It's hard to believe that it's been 15 years. Sometimes it feels like it was just a few days ago, and then other times it does feel like it's been 15 years. The purpose of today's collab is really to have a laid-back, chit-chat conversation with you. There were specific questions, and I'll list them down below. Please use those questions as maybe ways to have starter conversations with your friends and family and ways to remember what today is. One of the questions was, what was my reaction to the September 11th attack? It was heartbreaking. It broke me like it broke the world. I was shocked. I was saddened. So many feelings, there's not enough words to describe it. So that morning, it was a normal morning. I was 20 years old at the time. I was in school. I was in college. And I got up. I was running late. I normally would come down and I would actually have coffee and eat something with my grandparents, because at the time I was living with them, before I went off to school. But I was, again, as I mentioned, I was running late, so my grandfather gave me a ride to school and dropped me off. And again, I was in Chicago. We live in Chicago, or we did. And the attacks happened in New York, so there's an hour time difference. I go to my classroom, go to my first class, and in there, and we're waiting for our teacher to come, and he's not coming. And you start hearing rumblings out in the hallway, and you're not sure what's going on, and it was, you know, you get very curious. And an announcement came over that classes were all canceled today. You know, we were all to go home and be safe, and we went down to the lobby of our school, and they had put up TVs there, and everyone was just standing around watching them and watching the horror kind of that was unfolding on TV. Now remember guys, this was 15 years ago, so while yes there was internet out, social media as it stands today was not out then. It just wasn't. So being able to quickly, you know, oh my god, what's going on, you know, find out things, that wasn't available. We had to watch the news. I mean, that's where we got our information from. And I remember, I mean, there were cell phones out, but I didn't have like a cell phone. Like I had a prepaid one. So my grandparents were trying to get a hold of me to literally turn back around and come and get me. My school wasn't that far from home, but my grandfather was like, I'm picking you up. You're not taking the train home. I want you home, you know, because at that time there was still one plane missing. And there were rumors that it was headed toward Chicago. So they wanted to get me home and they wanted to get me safe. So my grandfather came and picked me up when we got home, and we spent the rest of the day glued to the TV. Our family came over. We all hung out with each other. We made sure, you know, our families were okay wherever they were. But it was a hard day. I mean, you spent it, you know, just watching and waiting and hoping and praying that really what we were seeing on TV was like, people wondered, was it a movie scene that we were watching? I mean, was it real? I mean, what was this, a hack on TV? Like, could it be real? And you were almost praying that it wasn't. But as the day went on and more information came out, you realized it was. And it was a horrible day. I did go out later that night. I went out and had dinner with a friend, and the streets were empty in Chicago. Empty. People were staying in their homes. People were almost afraid to go out. They didn't know what was going to happen. We were afraid. We were afraid that something could be happening. This was going to lead to a bigger series of events, and terrorist attacks were then going to continue to happen around the country, and we were going to be affected by it. So I remember going out, and I think we were like one of like less than 10 people in the restaurant. And everybody was talking to each other, and you were sharing your stories and sharing your reactions, and it was a sad day, but you felt that community with people. A few days later, I you know, people started to a little bit come out of their home, but you know, we were still always hesitant. Downtown Chicago was still very scarce. People were afraid to go downtown. They were afraid to go to work. But the main thing I remember from the days afterwards was the sense of community my city had and other cities around the country had. I mean, we all came together as one. We united as one. And it's sad to see today's life versus then, where in today's world we're constantly fighting each other and we're not united, and we don't have that sense of community. We're all they're playing blame games on everybody, you know, who did this, who did what, who was blamed for this. I often think of like, what happened, like where did we go in this flip, like where did we go from being this country that was united and standing together and proud of each other and helping each other, lending that hand, going about racial lines, they didn't exist those days afterwards, for months afterwards, you know, bigotry, racism, hatred, nothing existed. We were just united, and now our world is filled with that. So that's what saddens me about today and the world we stand in today versus then. So I'm kind of just going off on a tangent. But that's kind of my story of September 11th and how I was affected by that day. Let me know in the comments below your story, where you were that day, how it affected you. And also, if you're a parent, how do you plan on explaining to your child what that day was, what that day means? I would love to know. And I hope you guys take it easy today and just remember what today is. And I will be back in a few days with more videos. I'll talk to you guys later.